Demolition is directed by John Mark Belli, the director of Dallas Buyers Club and Wild, movies that I really, really enjoyed. And it stars the fantastic actor Jake Gyllenhaal and Naomi Watts, and is a highly anticipated movie for me because I loved, like I said, Dallas Buyers Club and Wild. And I every movie that this guy directs, I'm excited to see because I love his style. I love the thoughtfulness that he brings to his characters and the stories that he tells, and also mostly because Jake Gyllenhaal is a fantastic actor that has been knocking it out of the park in everything that he does. And the thing with this movie is, it's a pretty artsy movie that I feel like not many people will like, because Dallas Buyers Club and Wild were both true stories. So the director took his style and his artisticness and he added it to those true stories. And I thought that they worked fantastic with those things because he has a very unique style and a very unique directing talent that I feel adds to a true story. And with this story, I don't believe that it's from any sort of true story. And so he kind of made up the story, and it has the same kind of style as the other movies that he does, but the story just isn't as compelling or intriguing or fulfilling as those other films, because this is the real kind of definition for me of style over substance. A lot of people say that for, like, you know, comic book movies or action movies or things like that, where the action and the style of the film is overtaken by the substance, like the story and all that. And with movies like that, it's kind of like, well, yeah, but it's like the action is what you go for. A movie like this is what I really feel is where style overtakes the substance, because the style and the artisticness and just the art that he creates with his movies is more important to this director than the story that he tells. And especially when he doesn't have a true story to tell where he has to stick exactly to the story, he could just be more artistic and bring more of his style, and he doesn't focus on much of the story and the characters and the things that are involved with them. And that's where I think this movie is lacking, is where in Dallas Buyers Club and Wild, you care so much for the characters, and it's because they're real characters, and you want them to succeed in their mission or whatever that they're doing. And in this movie, you care for Jake Gyllenhaal, and Jake Gyllenhaal gives a fantastic performance. I think that he is one of the best actors that are alive today, and you definitely care for his character, and you care for Naomi Watts, and you like to see what's going to happen to him, but the style of everything that is happening is more important in this movie. And for me, that's not too much of a knockback, because I like movies like this that aren't as much focused on the story as they are on the emotion and what it's trying to make you feel. See, this movie is more trying to make you feel things and trying to make you think about life than it is trying to be like, this is the story. And for me, a movie like that, I take, you know, as it is. I enjoy just going into a movie and being enraptured and seeing how the director is making me feel, and seeing how, and trying to figure out what he's trying to tell me, and trying to figure out what he's trying to make me think, and thinking about the things that he does. And for most people, though, I think that a movie like this, they're just like, nothing really happens. It's kind of boring. It's kind of like, what is happening? That what were those shots about? Like, who is this person? And I feel like most people that see this movie are not going to be as emotionally involved as maybe I was, or, you know, other critics might be, because this movie is so much focused on just the emotion that it's trying to put you in, and just the tone that it's going for, which I think is it's not depressing, but it's definitely more of a unhappy kind of tone, because the main character of the film is unhappy. Jake Gyllenhaal, which I should have said this from the beginning, he plays a man that is married, and he gets in a car crash with his wife, and his wife dies, and then he doesn't die, obviously, and he is dealing with the death of his wife. And the thing is, he's not he's not happy, and he hasn't been happy for a long while. And so when he feels like he should be unhappy, and he feels like that's the right thing to do is be unhappy that your wife died, he just doesn't feel those things. And he's trying to figure out why he doesn't feel. And it's because he hasn't been happy for a long while. And he hasn't lived life the way that he wants. And so when his wife dies, he finally steps back and he tries to figure out why has he been unhappy. And he does things and he tries to figure them out. And he explores life and he explores happiness for him. And that's why it's called Demolition, because he is demolishing the things that he knows, and he's taking it back and looking at it, and he's trying to figure out, okay, how can I be happy in life? And for me, I thought that was a very ambitious thing to explore, and I really enjoyed the way the director set up this story, and the way that he set up scenes, and the way that his style, I really like his style. And like I said, I love those two other movies, but by no means do I think that this movie stands up against those other movies, because those other movies had such great stories with the style that this movie didn't have as much of a story, but it still had the style, and it still had the emotion that you feel from these characters. But I feel like a lot of people won't respond as well to it. But for me, I really enjoyed watching Jake Gyllenhaal just go through life and discover it again, and discover happiness, and figure out what it all means for him. And like I said, this movie is not about the story, it's about the feeling that it gives you and the thoughts that it gives you, and it makes you want to think, and it makes you want to be like, how am I happy? What am I unhappy with? You know? And that's what this movie is going for, and that I thought that it succeeded, but it's definitely not for everybody. I'm gonna have to go 3.5 out of 5 for this one. I think it's a good movie. I think it is a well-made film. It's definitely not for everybody. I didn't love watching this movie. I wouldn't exactly want to watch it again or anything. But I'm glad that I saw it. I'm glad that I got to experience what this movie wanted me to experience for the time that was in there for. It's definitely a little bit long. It's definitely not for everybody. It has a lot of confusion thrown in there. But I think it's worth seeing if you are wanting to just experience something. So in that regard, I can recommend it, and I could say that it is a good movie for me. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this and you want to see more reviews from a guy like me, you can subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.